Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world. Give me a thumbs up just for the intro.
What's up, guys? It's your man Bigg Vic. We are back in the building with another video, and I got my homie. This actually used to be one of my clients when I had my barbershop open, and we've known each other for quite a while. And it was so weird because when I got into the box truck business, I didn't really know that he was even driving or had a Hotshot set up where he was doing car hauling. What I want to do is just kind of rewind it back, and we're going to go into his story. Matter of fact, I think you had reached out to me. I think you might have seen me post something about I had the box truck, right?
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you saw the video of me talking about the box truck where I bought a box truck. And I didn't even know at that time that you were even moving car hauling.
Right.
So let's just go back to where you started and kind of what made you get into the car hauling industry. So people know that trucking industry is lucrative. Most people come into trucking the traditional way, as far as going to CDL school, driving 18-wheelers or driving for a company. Some of us out here that have kind of got started in what I would like to say an unorthodox way or a different way of getting into the trucking industry.
Correct.
How you came into the industry, matter of fact, you were working first, right?
Right. So I worked at GE Healthcare for 22 years.
22 years.
Yeah, 22 years, man. 22. I went in there as a real young man. Stayed there 22 years. It was a great company. Pay was great. But I knew I could do more, and I knew I could do a lot better than that. So I always look for outside means, to maximize my skill set and income.
Right.
And when I looked into the transportation industry and look, it's so huge, man. And you just have to pick an area and kind of stick in that area, learn that area, because it's so vast. It's hard to learn all of it. It's hard to try to learn 4 or 5 different things in the business. So the best thing to do is, I got into car hauling. I learned everything about car hauling that I could in a short time.
Okay.
And jumped into it.
Okay.
Jumped into it.
But you learned you actually had went out on medical leave.
Correct. So I was out. I was out on medical leave twice. So the first time I was out on medical leave was my time that I did a lot of research, and it was during COVID.
Okay.
The world was really shut down. Nobody could do anything, go anywhere. I did a lot of studying and researching. Insurance, trucks, trailers, just everything that I needed to do car hauling. I did all my research during that period. So when I did go back to work, I may have worked another week, 2 weeks. I was back out on leave again.
So was it purposely, or you meant to go back out on leave so you could pursue your?
So it wasn't my plan,
right?
Because my plan was, I've been at GE 22 years.
Okay.
My dad retired from there. I had uncles retired from there, so
it was a family
tradition. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was up next, man. You work here 40 years, you retire. You retire, you're gonna be good.
They get to go watching a turkey. That's what they give you at the end of retirement.
Exactly.
Go watch the turkey, the pension.
Yeah,
they actually give you just enough so that you may have to get a little part-time job after you retire.
Correct.
Most of these jobs, I like to call them jumping out of beds or just over brokes, but I don't really, I don't want to hate on some
I'm
jobs.
gonna give you one better, man. During the time I was out on disability, they sent me my pension, like what I would get at retirement.
Ooh.
I was like,
was it enough to get you excited or no?
No, nah. Nah. It was enough to try to, man. How am I gonna add another $2,000 to this?
Okay. Okay.
Like we talking monthly. It's not a weekly deal no more. Now we talking
every month.
What I would receive on a monthly basis, and we talking 25 years from now.
Okay. You went out on medical leave. You ended up buying a dually.
Correct.
You got a Ram 3500.
Right.
Okay, so you bought a Ram 3500 dually. Was it brand new?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so you
Brand
bought
new
a
truck.
brand new one and the trailer?
Trailer was used.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So you bought a brand new Ram 3500. You hadn't left at that time when you bought the truck, right?
No, I was
So
still employed.
so you kind of started just getting a feel of it,
Right.
seeing how things were going. So let me ask you this: after you saw a few, after you moved a few cars, did some car hauling, like how fast did things start to click in your head? Like,
Well, I went into it with numbers. You know what I needed per mile, per car,
right?
my expenses, and what I wanted to make.
Okay.
Not just, I didn't want to just make a profit. I wanted to
Right.
make, I really wanted to leave a job and make 4 or 5 times what I was making working.
Right.
So I would say that second month was when I realized, I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh man, the checks, I mean, literally checks, ACH, every day.
Every day.
It was so much, man. I was like, man, it was hard to keep up with. I
Wow.
had to go back and make sure I actually got paid for
Right.
everything I did.
Okay. So
That's how
you wasn't doing any factoring.
no factor.
You was just dealing directly with
Directly with brokers and
yep,
directly
directly
with
with
clients.
okay. So no factoring. So were the brokers paying daily or was it every
Some of it, all of it was
a
different.
week or
Yeah.
two? So everybody had their own different
So
pay
every
schedule.
correct. So every company had their own pay schedule. Some of it would be a 2-day pay. Some of it would
Okay.
be a next day pay.
Okay.
Some people paid on delivery, COD. Some
Okay.
people had 5-day pays. Some people had 10. Some of them had 30.
Okay. So let me
So
ask you. Go ahead.
so when I would haul, I had no factoring and I had no dispatch service on the car side.
Okay. So how long has it been now since you fired your job?
It's been a little over a year.
A
So
little over a year.
August 31st,
Okay.
2020 was my last day.
Okay. Okay. So so what's so interesting about his story, guys, is that it's something I didn't know, and he kind of schooled me on this. So he started off as non-CDL Hotshot with the 35. You had the 3500 from the get-go, right?
Right.
The dually,
Right.
and it was non-CDL.
Non-CDL.
Okay, and you purchased your trailer. What made you go get your CDL? What made you
Well,
want to graduate from? Because you were only doing 2 cars, right?
three
You
car
were,
hauler.
you were doing 3
Yeah, 3 car
without a
hauler
CDL.
without a CDL. But
Okay.
the trick to that is 26,000 1 pound and below your non-CDL.
Okay.
So on the car side, if I got 2 SUVs and a small car, it's a possibility I could be overweight.
You could be overweight.
Yeah, I still could be overweight because I think
Okay.
my weight capacity on my trailer was 11.2
Okay.
non-CDL. So
Okay.
now it went from that to 15,000 pounds. So I don't even
Okay.
have to worry. I don't have to count weight. I don't have to, oh my God, how much does this
Right.
X5 weigh? How much
Right.
is if
That's
they
with the CDL.
that's with the CDL. So if they
Okay.
can fit on the trailer, I don't even have to be
Right.
concerned with, am I overweight? And that was the
Okay.
main concern of getting my CDL
Okay.
on the car side, because I mean getting overweight tickets could impact
Oh
your
yeah, absolutely.
you know, your MC and
Absolutely.
DOT,
Yeah,
your whole authority.
for sure. For sure. So here's the interesting thing about what you did that kind of just took me back, because I was like, wait a minute, you serious? He was like, yeah. So what he did, guys, is he went and got his permit, studied to get his permit for his class A CDL, but he didn't go to school. He didn't go to a actual physical training facility to get his CDL. He actually had his own equipment already. Tell me how did you find out about that?
So I had a friend of mine, he was moving freight, I think he was traveling from South Carolina to Texas.
Okay.
He was going back and forth and he had a CDL set up.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, man, you can get a flat trailer and you could do freight non-CDL, but you're gonna want your CDL.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, how did you get them? He was like, well, I use my truck, I use my trailer, and I went through the skills test. He said, just study the book, let them know you want to take a Class A combination permit test. I went and
Okay.
took that, knocked that out. I had 1 year to take my skills test.
Mm.
The first
After the
time,
pay, after you got the permit.
right,
Okay.
correct. So after you get the permit, you got a year. You have up to a year to actually take the skills test for the license.
Mm-hmm.
So during this time, I'm really booming. I really didn't have time to go get the
To get to see that.
license.
Right. Right.
Right. So I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
that money dropping, hitting the
money,
count.
money coming in like crazy. I was like, man, I don't have time to go to the DMV.
The broker's making it rain on you.
I'm working every day, so I took time. I took time off, and I practiced parallel parking the truck and trailer.
Okay.
I practiced backing. I practiced the things that they look for in the skills test when you go
Okay.
take, when you go actually take the skills test.
Okay. So
So
did you had a book, a manual as
yes, I
far as
had
like
the
the
South
skills?
Carolina DMV manual.
Okay.
Everything's in that manual, man. You have to read it, study it,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to know their terminology.
Right.
And even with taking the skills test, everything is not in the book, but pretty much everything is in the book. They have
Okay.
a verbiage they would like for you to use when you're
Right.
taking a skills test, especially when you're doing a pre-trip inspection.
Okay.
So, man, I just talked to everybody I knew that had been to school
Right.
about the pre-trip.
Okay.
I didn't have a semi, but I still had to identify the parts on my truck
Okay.
as if it was a semi.
Okay. So the difference with your CDL combination setup is you just don't have the manual. You can't drive a manual
Correct.
truck.
So I can't drive a manual. I have a manual restriction, and I have
Okay.
an air brakes restriction.
Okay.
That
Because you did everything in your Hotshot setup.
correct.
Okay. Okay.
Correct. So those are the two restrictions that I have,
Okay.
or two endorsements that I don't have on my license, my CDL license.
So let me ask you this question. This might be a silly question, but would you say this is potentially a 6-figure a year business?
Yeah, it is, and I'm not talking about just crossing 6 figures. I'm talking about. I mean, this business is as good as you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Um, if you willing to work, this is not a business for people that don't want to work.
Right.
So
Right.
if you don't like your job and you don't want to work, this is not the business for you, man. It's a lot of time, a lot of energy.
Right.
But if you want to work and you want to build, hey, this business can. I mean, it can be a multi-million-dollar business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me go. Let me go here because I just thought about this. I remember I called you and I was like, "Yo, what's going on?" I was like, he said, "Yeah, man, I ain't did nothing in about how long you told me."
I took like almost 3 months off, man.
Come on, y'all. Y'all hear this?
3 months.
This man took almost 3 months off
3 months, man.
and was good
We
still.
went on vacation, man. We went on vacation. I mean, we
Come on.
traveled.
3 months. 3 months.
3 months.
And didn't have to
Three.
worry about if the bills were gonna be paid. Didn't have to
Nah,
worry about the account was gonna be in the negative when he came back from vacation. Like
exactly.
listen, y'all. This industry is a $790 billion a year transport. This just on the transportation side. There's so many other parts of trucking like logistics, and we're just talking about car hauling.
Correct.
We're not even talking about moving any other freight. We're just talking about hauling cars. So, like I said, there's so many different facets of the transportation industry that you could zero in on a niche. It doesn't have to be a box truck. It could be a non-CDL hotshot setup. Could be a CDL setup. Now if you didn't know that, you don't have to go to school to get your CDL. If you have the equipment, like if you got a nice bag laying around to be able to go out there and purchase you a new car, purchase you a trailer, you can get a Class A without going to CDL training school. In addition to that, I wanted to add on top of that is you did the non-CDL, you did get the CDL. So you also have another trailer. So you have two trailers.
Right. I have a
What
car
size? What
hauler.
size is are both of the trailers?
I have a 53-foot wedge car hauler, and then I have a 40-foot flatbed trailer.
Okay, so that 53-foot, that's you have to have a CDL for that one.
No, that was the car hauler.
That was the car hauler.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That still can be used as the non CDL car hauler.
It could be. I changed the weight rating on it,
Okay.
so now it's CDL too. But yeah,
Okay.
it could be. I mean, you could derate it
Okay.
back down to 12,000 pounds and use it as a non CDL
Okay.
setup.
So as far as the physical work of it, people always ask me, how would I compare being the owner operator of a box truck versus being the owner operator of a Hotshot? Definitely with the Hotshot, there's more work involved when it comes to strapping down,
Right.
Ratcheting down, just so many different ways that you probably have to ratchet down the equipment that you have that you're hauling.
Right.
Sometimes a lot of these things have to be tarped up. Some companies want their stuff tarped if it's not already wrapped and in plastic or covered. So how do you feel about? Well, I know how you feel about it after a year. It's okay. So I mean, as far as like, how do you feel about that part of it? Especially like when the weather changes.
That's the thing, man. Those cold, rainy days, it can be challenging.
Okay.
Especially when you first getting started. I had some days, man. You loading, it's slippery, it's wet, and you got to pay attention to detail, especially with loading cars. You do not wanna drive a car off the trailer or not tie it down properly, and you got a car coming. You definitely don't want to do that. So I tell anybody, man, when it comes down to securing the load, take your time, double check things, take as much time as needed. You'll get better and faster with time.
A lot of those cars that you're hauling, and see, most of your stuff is pretty much local. It would be considered local because you're home every day.
Right. Yeah.
So you're not doing over the road car hauling. You're basically going about what radius? About 200
4
miles?
hours. Yeah, it's like 4 hours. It's a 4-hour radius from
round
my
trip.
residence. Yeah. Well, no, not round trip.
Just
like,
one way?
Yeah, I go 4 hours out, 4 hours back. Just depending on where I'm going. I go 5 hours out. I use my 11 hours of driving time.
Okay.
But as far as like, going to stay overnight, nah.
Right. Nah. Okay. And see, you already have a setup to carry other freight if you wanted to do that. Like you set up to do car hauling, and you also set up to just move other freight that's out there.
Right.
You did say you moved some freight. Like I think you said you moved some tractor trailers. What was it you moved?
It was like skid steers.
Okay.
Backhoes, stuff like that.
Okay, that's what I meant to say. The backhoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tractors.
Yeah, tractors. That's what you told me you moved.
Water trucks, all that.
Okay.
All of that. Anything that'll go on that flatbed within my weight range. We'll put it up there.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it seems like the industry has been good to you. You win over a year, got your CDL, didn't have to go to pay 3 or 4, 5,000. I heard 10,000 for some of these schools. Like the numbers is getting up as far as going to get, trying to go to training school to get your CDL. But if someone has the equipment as of now, before this February change comes up,
February 7th.
You're still able to go, and do your CDL without going to school.
Right.
To get your CDL. Yeah. So look, I'm excited. Like we all, and see me and this guy right here, you guys, we always go back when I'm on a roll or he on a roll, he'll hit me up. We just be chopping it up all the time. It's amazing what you can do for your family when you get focused in this business. Go get the money. Like the money is out there. You just got to be focused and get on your grind. You definitely can't be somebody that's a quitter. Because things will happen. Equipment may fail. You may have to put some money back in it even after you're making money, because that's just part of the trucking industry. A tire might have a blowout. Any little thing can come up. I'm excited for you because I remember when we were doing some businesses together. You know, just trying to just change our families' lives. You know, because we did not want to work for the rest of our lives. You know, or be able to build some what we call multiple streams of income out here. And we found, you know, we found our niche. You know, something that's working for us and continuously bringing in some decent revenue because I've never brought in $3,000 a week cutting hair.
Exactly.
I've never made that type
Exactly.
of money. I've never made $6,000 in a week doing anything else. I maybe doing doing music production, but you know that's like a one hit, and then you got to hope you can get some money on the back end. You know,
Right.
but when you put yourself in a position to where anytime your truck moves, anytime my truck moves, you know, we're getting a decent bag for it. You know, so man, listen, this is life changing. This is life changing information. And I wanted to share this story with you guys because I know I didn't know that I could go get my CDL without actually going to truck driving school to get it. You know, so I think that was really, really, I think that's a gem that people probably don't even know that they
It's
can do.
and
You
it's
know,
been that way for years, man. You have a lot
wow.
of guys that, I mean, if you can afford to go buy, for years, if you could afford to go buy a semi,
Hmm.
flatbed trailer, or 53-foot drive-in, and you learn how to drive it, I mean, you get your permit, you get your license.
Right. This is
Um,
it's almost similar to a car.
right. It's the
Just
same.
driving a car. I guess because uh the thought of obtaining a CDL, you know, traditionally, the traditional way, most people always say, "Oh yeah, I got to go to CDL training," or I'm going to I don't know whatever state. I'll be there for 2 months or a month or whatever. You know, getting my CDL training or getting my CDL license. But
Right.
when I think about it, that's almost similar to driving a regular car. You
It
know what I'm saying?
is,
Like,
man.
who goes to school to drive a regular car? Nobody. Your mama took you down the street. She let you drive the car and she let you hold the vehicle and you got your training. You studied the manual.
Right.
Then you went and took the driving test.
Right.
You
Correct.
know, but it just seems like it's a little harder, I guess, for most people when it comes to like semis and stuff like that. But like this hot shot route, obtaining that CDL that way, like I really that piqued my interest right there. That made me want to pursue getting a CDL. You know, doing it that way versus going to spend 3, 4 grand, 5 grand, whatever it may cost to get a CDL. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like,
And the only thing they're gonna tell you in the CDL class is the same thing that's in that book. I mean, they use that same manual.
wow.
They're gonna use that manual, and they're gonna come to class with different stories and experiences.
Mm,
Um, I got friends that's truck drivers. It's been truck drivers for years. If I have questions or anything, man, I always ask.
right,
That's one thing about trucking. You will never know everything. There's always something new to learn. So
right.
guys has been in it for a long time. Even today, I'll be like, hey man, what do you think about this? If
Mm-hmm.
I got a question about loading, I'll call somebody and ask because that's a lot better than thinking you got it right and you don't
Right,
have it right.
right.
So, you know, even the guys that go to class, they get on the road, man, it's still a learning process.
Exactly. So
It's
let me ask you
still a
this:
learning process.
Are you unemployable right now?
Am I unemployable?
Yeah.
Is that a trick question? That's a trick question. Man,
Are you
the
unemployable?
only one that can hire me is me.
There you go.
That's
There
it.
you go. There you go. That's what it's about, man. Listen. I hope y'all was able to get something out of this video right here, out of this interview, because uh the things that the interviews that I want to bring on the channel, I just want you guys to be able to get some gems from it, and at least be able to take something away from it to where you could say, oh man, shoot, what month are we in right now? We're in November, December, January. I'm gonna go get I may go get my CDL, and I may have the money to go buy the equipment and try for the CDL myself without actually having to go to school.
Right.
So And then you told me that you got a guy that has his endorsement, hazmat endorsement,
Yeah,
without having a CDL.
right. His company has a hazmat endorsement, so his company can actually do
Ho-
hazmat
Hazmat
loads.
loads. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. And that was
and
without.
I gotta make sure I get you that link too.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that was without a
Yeah.
CDL, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, guys. So as days go by, I'm learning. We're all still out here learning, and we're just passing on the information and hoping that you guys can get some tips that you can apply to your business. I thank you. I call him Cheraw because he's in Cheraw, South Carolina, and I used to
Uh,
we used to play Madden. I used to make him mad, make him turn off the game, stuff like that. When we used to play that Madden live, he used to, he beat me sometimes, but this is my man Terrance. Appreciate you tapping in with me today on Bigg Vic TV. And you guys, we are going to see y'all in the next video. Make sure you thumbs this video up and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you are definitely notified when I drop the next video. All right, we'll see y'all in a minute. Peace.
Now before it's over, I don't wanna pack my things and be ready to let you go, But maybe it's too late to figure it out, to make it through. Maybe it can't